Good night, this is Fumi's Sleepy Time Stories. Tonight's bedtime story is about to begin.
Long, long ago, roughly 2,000 years ago, there lived a wealthy man and his kind, beautiful wife. They loved each other deeply and lived in complete happiness. The only thing missing was a child. Despite many years of marriage, they remained childless. No matter how fervently they prayed, day and night, they could not conceive. In front of their house stood a small yard with a tall juniper tree. One winter's day, the wife stood beneath the tree, peeling an apple in her hand. As she peeled, she accidentally cut her finger. One drop of blood fell onto the snow beneath the juniper. "Ah," she sighed, moved by the scene. "If only I could have a child whose lips were as red as blood, whose skin was as white as snow. If only." At that moment, she felt a surge of confidence fill her heart, and she looked meaningfully at the juniper. Feeling joyful, she went back inside, certain in her mind that everything would turn out well. A month passed, and the thick snow melted away. 2 months passed, and the world began to sprout green. 3 months passed, and flowers emerged from the earth. 4 months passed, and the forest burst into leaf and bloom. Birdsong filled the woods. Soon, the petals drifted from the trees. One day, 5 months later, the woman returned to stand beneath the juniper. The scent of flowers quickened her heartbeat. Overcome with happiness, she knelt by the tree. 6 months passed, and the tree was heavy with fruit, yet the woman grew silent. 7 months passed, and she began picking up the fallen berries, eating them one by one. She ate so much that she felt ill and inexplicably sorrowful. 8 months passed, and she called her husband to her side. Through tears, she said, "If I die, bury me beneath this juniper." When he solemnly promised, she lay down and slept in peace. A month later, she gave birth to a baby with lips as red as blood and skin as white as snow. Seeing the child, she sighed with relief and joy, and then content, closed her eyes and passed away. The husband buried her beneath the juniper and wept inconsolably. Time healed his wounds. Though he still cried, his grief eased. After a while, he married again. Soon his second wife bore him a daughter. The boy born to the first wife, the one with blood-red lips and snow-white skin, filled the household with beauty. But the stepmother grew jealous, her heart twisted with envy. She began to plan how her own daughter might inherit all his wealth. She tortured the boy, constantly slapping him, insulting him, sentencing him to corners, refusing him permission to move or even turn his head. Soon he feared going home. After school, he had nowhere to go. One day, the stepmother went to the pantry upstairs. The little girl followed, asking, "Mama, may I have an apple?" "Of course, my dear," said the stepmother, handing her a red, perfect apple from a box, locked with heavy iron and steel. The girl then asked, "May my brother have one too?" Though angry, the stepmother replied, "Yes, when he comes home after school." Glancing outside, she noticed the boy at the gate. Malice blossomed instantly. She snatched the apple back, saying, "He hasn't had his yet, so you can't have yours," and slammed the iron lid shut. When the boy arrived, the stepmother greeted him sweetly, voice gentle but eyes fierce. "My dear son, would you like an apple?" "To thank you, Mama," he stammered, trembling. She opened the heavy box lid wide and beckoned him. As he bent to choose, she pushed the lid closed with a clang, and his head was severed and tumbled amongst the apples. Horrified at her deed, the stepmother fetched a white scarf. She placed the head back on his shoulders, wrapped it securely, then positioned the body on a chair by the kitchen door, placing an apple in his hand. Just then, the little girl entered, distraught at finding her brother unresponsive. The stepmother instructed her to slap him hard. That will make him speak. The girl struck him, and his head fell onto the floor. Terrified, she ran to her mother, crying, "Mama, I knocked off his head." The mother scolded, then urged her daughter to help her chop the body into pieces for soup. Later, the father returned. The room was silent except for the mother serving steaming soup at the table, with the daughter sobbing silently. "Where's my son?" he asked twice. The mother lied, saying he'd traveled abroad to visit his birth mother's family for 6 weeks. The father sighed, ate heartily, and couldn't understand why his daughter and his wife not eat. Meanwhile, the little girl retrieved her brother's bones from beneath the table, wrapping them in a silk scarf and laid them under the juniper. She rested beside them until tears of blood welled from her eyes. Suddenly, the tree's branches began folding and unfolding like applause. A mist rose among the limbs, glowing like flame. At its center perched a beautiful little bird. It sang joyfully before flying away. When the girl looked again, both bird and bones were gone. She felt her heart lighten, as if her brother were alive, and happily returned to dinner. The bird flew far and arrived over a goldsmith's workshop. There, perched on the roof, it began to sing, "My mother cut off my head, my father ate my flesh. My sister Marlingen wrapped my bones in a silken cloth, placed them beneath the juniper tree. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Oh, I am such a lovely bird." The goldsmith heard the song and rushed out, leaving one slipper behind. He called to the bird to sing again, but the bird demanded the gold chain he held. He gladly gave it, and the bird sang again and took the chain. Next, the bird flew to a cobbler's house and sang again. The cobbler brought out red leather shoes. In exchange, the bird sang again and flew away with both the gold chain and the shoes. Then it came to a mill where 20 apprentices worked at a new millstone. Bird sang from the first line. A few stopped to listen, and finally all 20 paused. They offered it the millstone. The bird carried it off and sang a final time, then flew home bearing the gold chain, the red shoes, and the millstone. Inside the house, the father felt inexplicably light and joyful. The stepmother felt sick, burning with dread. The girl shed silent tears. Then the bird returned. It perched back at the juniper, sang the song again, and dropped the gold chain around the father's neck. He rejoiced and showed his wife and daughter. The bird sang again. It dropped the red shoes, which the daughter gratefully accepted. Then the bird sang once more and dropped the heavy millstone atop the stepmother's head, crushing her to death. Silence followed. Then the fire flames engulfed the yard, then subsided. Beneath the juniper stood the young boy, alive and well, holding both his father's and sister's hands. The family embraced, joyful and complete, and returned indoors to share their evening meal together again.
The end.
you